Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex, and today we're doing another X-Men character review. I went through all of the comments in the latest YouTube video for the Cyclops review, which you should check out if you haven't already. Hey there, Scott. And although it was a really small margin, Rogue actually beat out Storm for the most number of votes by you guys. So I'm gonna go with the fan community votes, and we're gonna check out Rogue and just what makes her such a special speed character, because I think she is, with Scott Summers, one of the most interesting characters from this new update. She's got a brand new leadership, and she's got some very cool synergistic effects and stats. So let's jump right into it and check out Rogue's skills. The real big thing that she's lacking overall is damage, but besides that, if you build her properly, she can be a very potent character in both PvE and PvP. So her first skill is just a basic physical attack. Her second skill has a very interesting remove active buff effect, and it gives her a whopping 30% physical attack boost when it's all leveled up to 6. So that's a fantastic skill. It also deals energy damage, so despite the fact that she's a physical attacker, she can dabble in both physical and energy, which makes her almost like a dual typing, very dangerous for PvP scenarios, and able to avoid killing themselves to reflect against people like Destroyer and Luke Cage. In addition, this second skill is an iframe, so it's fantastic to use. Her third skill is also physical. It's a Drain Punch, which gives her back 6% of her max HP for 1 second, which is great, and also synergizes with her tier 2 passive. Her 4-star passive skill decreases debuff duration, so when she gets frozen or when she gets stunned, it won't last as long. Her fourth skill, Pile Driver, is a long iframe reminiscent of Hyperion's fourth skill. And then her fifth skill is also a debuff or a buff removal, which is great for taking away invincibility shields, taking away damage buffs from characters. It does great damage in a large AoE, and it gives her an all attack, all defense, all speed boost, which goes up as you level up the skill. It also gives her a whopping 4% damage immunity, which is great. Very tanky skill, fantastic overall stats. Then we have her leadership, so unique. Applies to all teammates, 24% chance to be immune to all damage. Now, I've heard some conflicting reports about this leadership. Some say that it's bugged, and that if you already have invincibility or immunity and this triggers, that something weird will happen. They'll both disappear, the motorcycle will drive by, something like that. So I'm not yet sure. I haven't done enough testing myself with her leadership, but just based on the fact that you can give fragile characters like Spider-Man, Hawkeye, and other weak speed characters a boost by giving them potentially immune to all damage is great. In addition, guys, her tier 2 passive, it does give a decreased damage received, which makes her tankier. It gives her guaranteed dodge, which also makes her tankier. But the most important part there, increases all buff effects by 10% and their duration by 30%. So when she buffs herself for 30%, it's actually 33%. When she buffs her all attack and all defense and all speed, it's actually more. And the best part is, when she gives herself that 4 seconds of motorcycle damage immunity, it's actually 6 seconds. So once you tier 2 Rogue, she gives herself 6 seconds of damage immunity with her 5th skill, which is fantastic. Super synergistic skills, leadership, and tier 2 passive. One of the most well-built characters, complete setups top to bottom that I've seen in this game, and I love Rogue. She plays so well, so fluid, everything makes sense. There's no bizarre mind damage ability. Everything makes sense, and it's fantastic. Speaking of rotations for Rogue, this is how you want to do it. You want to open with the 5th skill because of the buffs, the debuffs, and the immunity, which is the most important part. Then you want to cycle over to her 3rd skill for the HP drain, or the HP up, or the 1 skill. So you can do 5-3 or 5-1, and then alternate to the next one. So you can do 5-3-1 or 5-1-3. Then you want to go over to the 2 skill. The reason why I space out the 5th skill and the 2nd skill is because they both have the same powerful debuff or buff removal, and you don't want to do them one after another in case you have a character or an enemy that's constantly buffing themselves up. You want to space out the moments where you try and take that buff away. And then you want to end with the 4th skill because it's a long iframe. It will protect Rogue, and it will give you time to stall until you can do that 5th skill again to get back that damage immunity. So that's the rotation for her skills. As far as Rogue's gears go, we have physical attack and attack speed on the first slot. We have energy defense and crit rate on the second one, critical damage and crowd control time down, which is also a debuff reduction down there. And then we have movement speed and ignore defense. So the two big stats that she's missing on the orange numbers are HP and skill cooldown. That being said, she has some pretty good gear. You want to roll them the way I've rolled them for the most part. Physical attack and then all attack or physical attack for the first gear. This one is all messed up, but you know what it is by now if you watch my videos. You want energy defense by level for the first two, and then the rest should all be all defense. Third one should be like this, 2 HPs per level, the rest all HP. And then the last one is going to be what you need. I think for newer players, you're definitely going to need to roll skill cooldown. For veterans, you can go with ignore defense, or you can go with crit damage if you want as well. As far as Urus go for Rogue, there's a couple of different options you can take with the character. I want to point out a couple of things before we continue as far as the Uru, Obelisk, and ISO 8 set goes. If we go over here and we look at Rogue's base stats, I was actually very surprised to find out her native HP is very high, almost 16,000. More importantly, her native defensive stats are through the roof. 4,700 and 4,500 for physical and energy defense are insane for a speed character. There is no speed character in this game that even comes close to Rogue's levels. To put it into perspective for you guys, Rogue has the same or almost the same base defensive stats as a native tier 2 in Wolverine, guys. She actually has higher energy defense than he does. That's crazy. So given the fact that Rogue has such massive native defenses, you want to potentially try and build on that with either her Obelisk or her ISO 8 set. But let's jump into the Uru first. You definitely want to give her 2 physical attack Urus because she definitely needs that damage to stay alive and kill the enemy faster before they kill her. The other 3 slots you can kind of get creative. You can put crit damage for more DPS. You could put dodge, or you could also put HP. I will probably go with HP in the end, but remember that because she has 23% guaranteed dodge, giving her dodge on Urus or Obelisk is actually a good idea because it will synergize and give her more survivability, and she'll be able to dodge more often. As far as the Obelisk goes, dodge is a great main stat to roll for her, but it's not always the best stat, so I can understand why people might be turned off by that. But in general, I think you want to roll for something that does have a damage proc on it, because Rogue definitely does not need that invincibility as much as some of the other X-Men. Because of the fact that she has 6 seconds of immunity on her 5th skill, plus all the iframes, you really don't need that buffer from your Obelisk, so you want to get something with a damage proc. I don't have any examples for you guys because they're all equipped, but you guys know something like this would be good. Just change around the recovery rate for either dodge, max HP, or all defense. So get one of those as a base with the orange stat. I would probably go for max HP myself, and then try and roll something like max HP all defense damage proc, or max HP dodge damage proc for her. It's tempting to give her recovery rate because she has a heal skill, but 6% is really low. So giving her that recovery rate, you'll see a bit of a bump in the numbers, but it won't be enough to justify wasting your Obelisk slot on that. And she's much more synergistic with something like max HP or all defense because she has those high stats natively. As far as an ISO 8 set goes, you can see here that I have Hawk's Eye. If you want to be offensive with your Rogue and use her primarily for things like Shadowland and World Boss, then you want to go with an offensive set. I think for newer players, Hawk's Eye is a great choice because it gives skill cooldown, and she's missing it on her stats, so you'll have a very low base skill cooldown of about 28 or 29% before your cards and your alliance bonus and your Uru. So Hawk's Eye is a good option, but of course, if you want to be the absolute best and you want the highest damage returns for your PvE character, it's got to be Power of Angry Hulk or Overdrive. I think Overdrive is the best choice overall, the #1 choice for offensive builds, because she gives herself an all speed buff on her 5th skill, so she doesn't need that all speed or that attack speed from Power of Angry Hulk as much as some other characters do. However, if you want to build your Rogue for PvP, if you want to build her for Alliance Conquest and other game modes, I do have some other suggestions for you. Stark backing is a pretty good set because Rogue is almost like Captain America. She has so many iframes, she has so many skills that give her immunity, she's super beefy, she heals herself, and having an extra heal in Stark backing with the all defense, with the dodge, with the max HP, synergizes so well with all of her main stats that it would just make her ultra beefy, like humongously beefy. Another good choice, I think, would be something like Drastic Density Enhancement, because it still gives her that all attack buff, but it does give her also the max HP, and then it gives you that HP shield when her immunity is down, so that she can take some hits from the enemy. But those are just some of my suggestions. I'd like to hear what works for you guys if you have a different ISO 8 set for Rogue. Finally, where to farm Rogue, very similar to where you get her, to where you get the other X-Men. You have to hop on over to the Epic Quest, Rise of the X-Men, go into Tracking, the first one going Rogue, and then you can farm that one and get about 12 to 15 bios per day. You can also refresh it for 100 crystals, but I don't recommend doing that. You can always use rank up tickets, mega rank up tickets, and mega tier 2 tickets to get your Rogue up to the next level if you have those in your inventory. And yes, we are getting one in a few days, so if you wanted to drop that one on her, you absolutely could. Let's take a look now how Rogue does against a world boss. She takes hits in between her fourth skill. I think I'm going to start with the 5 and then the 4. I'm getting some coffee. Can you get me some too? I'm going to grab some coffee when this live stream's over. I have to play a bit more conservatively. He says as he takes damage. Not bad, not bad, not bad. He can't debuff immunity. Yep. He can debuff for tier 2 passive, which gives her 2 seconds of... You should switch when he debuffs you. He's not debuffing me, though. That's not why I'm taking damage. There we go, back up to full health. Captain America's shield chasing him. You have to cast the 5 almost immediately after you come down from the 4. Otherwise you get hit. Yeah, you gotta cast the 5 really. Like, you have to press something after the 4, otherwise she just stands there. See, you get hit. Yeah. Nice. Nice. Ooh. Yeah, you really have to cast that 5 quickly, otherwise you do get hit. And you can get one-shotted by Thanos. There we go. No obelisk again. We got it. In closing, guys, I think that Rogue is a very special speed character. I can't yet comment on just how powerful she's going to be for Extreme Alliance Battle. I don't think she's going to take over characters like Gwenpool with her new uniform, Kate Bishop fully maxed out, Elsa fully maxed out, or even Kid Kaiju, the reigning champ. But I think she will become one of the top 5, if not top 3 or top 2 speed characters in the game once everyone can figure out the optimal build for her. She has so much flexibility in her skill set that she could be very much so a powerful character for both all PvE content and PvP content, and it's very rare to get that in a character, and it's even rarer to get that in a speed character. This class has been neglected for so long. I'm finally glad to say we have a good speed character. She's not native tier 2, which would have given her a bump in stats and a bit more of an OP power level, but Rogue is a good sign for future things to come. Maybe we'll get another OP speed character native in native tier 2 in rank to go alongside her to really bump up this class and bring it up to where it needs to be. So let me know what your thoughts are on Rogue. Let me know who you want to see next. Is it going to be Storm? Is it going to be Magneto? Who you got? And of course, guys, if you like what you see, Sugar, I hope to see you again tomorrow. Take care.